motto, time with alumni. It's College of Engineering alumni. So today we have with us Engineer Kwabena Bempong. He is the CEO of the Associated Consultants, and he has a master's, but he did with the College of Engineering KNUST, BSc in Civil Engineering. And he was just recently inducted as the president of the Ghana Institution of Engineers at their 53rd annual mega meet in the Western region last year. And he's an avid contributor to the endowment fund, the College of Engineering. And actually, Associated Consultants and Limited are all avid contributors. So we are really proud to have him here. We're very proud to be the whole right to it. I've given you a brief background, and we just ask them about how it was when you came and when you graduated.
Well, thank you very much. I came in 1989, having worked for 1 year after for my national service, and assigned to the Independence Corps. So throughout, did my Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering, as you rightly said. At the time, our class started with 28. We had only one female, Linda. Later on, we were joined by Rita, who was also the only female in mechanical engineering. So she joined us sometime in the second year. And eventually, we became 30. We completed that same number. Yes, my time at the University of Science and Technology at the time it was called now KNUST, that's a public University of Science and Technology, was very eventful, very interesting, but very tough. Because in those days, being a very small number, you can imagine that lecturers had their eyes on us. It wasn't like today where you have over 200 or so. It was very close number. And I remember Dean at the time, as we called it, because at the time it was the School of Engineering. And as a school, we had a Dean. And our Dean was Professor Kumaple. And Professor Kumaple, I remember in first year when he met us, he said that as engineers or engineering students, we must have ingenuity. I remember that word very, very much. Ingenuity. So we were wondering what is all this ingenuity about. But then somewhere along the line, we came to understand that engineering is not just a question of, as we say, chew and pour. It is about life. It is about life. And when you are doing something about life, then it has to be immersive. You have to immerse yourself in it. And then you should be able to think on your feet and be innovative. Because what we were taught in school are the principles, the theories, which are very good. But then once you come out of school, it is no more somebody setting a question with a beam with support. It tells you that this is a simply supported beam, and therefore you can just work it out. WL squared y. No, that's not how it works. This time around, what you do is that you set your own questions in engineering. You set your own questions and then you answer. So your ability to set the right questions will give you the right solution.
Yeah, thank you so much. That launches us into our next question about your career.
Okay.
Where you began, and then how far you are.
So indeed, after KNUST, I initially wanted to lecture, and I still have that passion for teaching. Because I have had opportunities of teaching at the basic level, and then also I was offered a teaching assistant role in the soils materials department at the time, as it was called, under Professor Kedu. At the time, we had diploma course in the school, so he gave me the opportunity to teach the whole class in soil mechanics. The whole course was given to me to teach. And then I was also doing some teaching in foundation engineering and also soil mechanics for the third year and the second year students at the time. Yes, so that is what launched me into my career, my love for soils pavement engineering. So after then, I had opportunity to go to TU Delft. There was a program that was more like from KNUST. I was given that opportunity to go to TU Delft. We had a school called IHE in the Netherlands. So that's where I read. At the time, we called it Transportation for Road Engineering for Development. Trend, yes. So I did that course, completed my 18-month program, and after that, I came home. And before I went to Netherlands, I had left the university and joined Associated Consultants. So I joined Associated Consultants as a graduate engineer, and once I came back, went back to them.
You've been with them since?
I've been with them since. So I joined Associated Consultants in 1995, January 1995. Went to do my master's in 96. And interestingly, whilst I was leaving, Associated Consultants gave me a study leave with pay.
That's very generous of them.
Yes, study leave with pay, and I'd been there for less than a year. Less than a year. Actually, I came in January and I left in September. But then I believe they saw something and decided that this next month should not be allowed to go sport. Then they were paying me my salary every month in Associated Consultants. So I went there, read, and of course there we have two streams. Either you go into transportation as traffic engineering and transportation, or you go into pavement engineering. So I offered pavement engineering my second year and did my thesis something else. So that is how my career started. I came back to Associated Consultants and continued. But at the time, we didn't have jobs in pavement engineering. So quickly, I had to move into geometrics. That is design of roads and highways. So that is how I became a geometric, highway engineer. And ever since, I'm working in that area. But then, for my first few months in Associated Consultant, my boss, Mr. Yasayabwa, introduced me to structures. Of course, I've been doing structures. I did structures. So he gave me a very huge job. He gave me some software, and then I started studying and learning about these structural systems and reading them a lot. And so I then also ended up doing structures. So after school, in consultancy, you cannot just say that, okay, I'm only specialized. So I was doing structures and then doing the highway engineering that I mentioned.
And so is it safe to say that what you actually do right now is not what you did for the masters, but then
yes,
it's totally unrelated?
No, it cannot. No, it's somehow related. Okay. Somehow related, because what happens, in engineering is that as you go up, you need to have a broad base. You need to have an understanding. You cannot say that, I am only a structural engineer. I don't know anything about foundations, or I don't know anything about soils or highway. You need to have an understanding, and that is that base. Civil engineering gave me that base. And I must say something. When we went to the Netherlands, interestingly enough, the kind of things that we were being taught, especially for some of the courses, we had already been taught, and we've done them at the undergraduate level. So it made life a bit, it made it easier. And I remember in soil mechanics 2, I remember it very clearly, where the lecturer, normally they'll set the questions at the beginning of the semester. So whether you complete the syllabus or not, you have the notes. So you are expected to study. So we went into the examination, and lo and behold, there was a question that was set. I remember also that question very clearly in my mind about using soils as filter media, or D60, D10, and that kind of thing. And it was an open book examination. So for a KNUST guy who has always had to cram formulae and all those things, and now you have an open book. So all I did was to do the sieve analysis that we've done, just calculate your D60, calculate your D10, and then straight away apply the formula. I didn't need to. No, well, the book was there, so all I needed to do was open to get the formula, and then I just did. And for a class of, I think that in that class were 15. The master's class was 15. We were all from different countries. You know, about 5 countries in Africa. We had the Asians there, we had those from South America, and then maybe some Europeans also there. And I happened to be the only one who was able to do it. And usually at the time, what happens is that after the examination, we are called one by one to have an oral interview. Yes, because the lecturer would want to find out whether it was examination pressure or which course we were unable to do. So he would ask you some questions, an oral interview. So at that interview, he asked, how come you were the only person who was able to do it? And I said, oh, I didn't see it to be too different from what I studied at my undergraduate level. So that was it. Yes.
As a feather in KNUST's cap.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, what will be your advice to students concerning their life right now as they study, and then when they move out, what should they expect getting to the real world?
Okay. Now, number one is that believe the education that you are having at KNUST. A lot of the time, and I had some friends who thought that, no, we were not doing it. But I took my studies very seriously. And interestingly, there are things that I learned at KNUST that I still remember today, that I'm still applying in real life. It's not a joke. I was a member, not just a member, the chairman for membership at GhIE for many years. And we interview those candidates who would like to become members. And I ask them some basic questions, and they don't get it. And I feel sad because after 30 years, still remember. I remember those theories and those, so I don't understand why they not. It is because, in my view, that they do not take what they were studying, I would say seriously, but they did not believe in it. That's the first thing I can say. So please believe in the kind of education that you are receiving at KNUST. The second thing is that the resources that are available in the university are so huge. In our time, we didn't have our computers, we didn't have everything like internet or things. All we had were books at the library, and even those books were limited. So we had to reduce the books and then the notes from lecturers. But today, there are so many resources available. If you want to be connected to MIT, you wanted to be connected to any school in the world, in India and everything, they are available. So what are you using the internet for? To be watching series or videos or TikTok? Yes, it is good. It is all part of learning, but there's a need for you to apply yourself to understanding the course that you're doing. It is not enough to just get your A's and B's. No, some people are able to get it, but then they have no understanding. You have to understand. That is the most important. When you have understanding, it helps you in your later life. That don't forget, because you understand the principles. And I'll just give you another one. When I went to the graduate school, we had a particular course. In that course, my goodness, it was a more of materials, but then it had to do with bituminous materials, bitumen itself, and the calculations in there. The course, I was just wondering how we were going to take an exam. Because even when we are given assignment, it's so mathematical. So I was just wondering. But the day of the exam, it was an oral examination. Nothing written. So he goes there, he puts an equation before you, explain that equation. So if you don't have understanding, how do you explain it? And then how it applies. So the equations have applications, and that is what we should set our minds on, not learning by rote, learning and understanding. So that's to do with the resources that are available to you. And then asking questions. I love to ask questions, because if you don't ask questions, you wouldn't know. How would you know if you don't ask? Who do ask. You can ask your lecturers, you can ask your peers, your classmates, some classmates you have. You can ask your seniors. You can ask those of us who are in the field. And it is through this, and that is where the the vacation internship comes in. Because when you are a student, excuse me to say, you can ask all the foolish questions, stupid, seemingly stupid questions. I don't believe there are any stupid questions, because these questions sometimes they trigger something that even the person you think knows so much hasn't talked about. And this happened where in the US, where the professor who had designed a structure and thought that, oh, this structure, there's nothing that can cause it to fail. It took a seemingly stupid or foolish question from an intern for him to realize that he had made a mistake. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And I have a maxim that things have always remained the same. It's not enough reason you must not change. Don't accept that, oh, this is how we do it. No, it doesn't work. Otherwise, then the research will not be important. We need to question even. Sometimes you have to question your lectures. Unfortunately, it's a long time ago, but in those days, our lecturers do not like to be questioned. But please, lecturers, this is also for you. Allow the students to express themselves. When we were in graduate school, sometimes it's almost like a debate with the lecturer, because before we go in there, we would also have been prepared. So it is through these question and expression of ideas that the lecturer can do that as an opportunity to explain further, and for us as students also to help the lecturer in his teaching methods. So ask questions by all means, and then relate whatever you are studying with the real world. Because if you don't relate with the real world, then you might think that, oh, when I go and start working, they will draw a beam for me, or you'll be given a question and then you answer. No, it doesn't work that way. As I said in the beginning, you have to find out, how does this Laplace transform or the differentiation or the integration that you are learning, how does it relate to the real world? How is it applied? So the application of theory and of processes is important, and that comes back to the question of understanding. So these are things that I would like to put to the young coming, because I call them engineering graduates.
Thank you so much. These are nuggets of wisdom. Thank you so much.